Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Oh, thank you very much for joining us for this technical training session. And thank you so much that I saw that it's about now 30 participants joining us. But before we start the session, I would like to hear from you. What do you feel today? Now I would like you to practice using the chat box. How do you feel today? Click using the emoji that addressing your feeling now. Sleepy, tired, or hungry. All right, okay. So I feel excited for the this training session. Now I see. Okay, someone said that sleepy and hungry. Okay, anything else? Oh, I got food poisoning for 2 days. Now getting better. I hope that you're gonna be recover very well, Miss Lee. All right. Any who else? Hungry but need to wait few more hours. Oh yeah, that's right because it's in the fasting period for the Muslim country. And may I inform you that I understand that because of this our training will be a little bit longer than maybe we will try to finish it by 4:15, all right, which is Bangkok time, which is 5:15 of the Brunei, Malaysia, and Banjarmasin. But if you really have something urgent and important today to do, you can skip, all right. But however, please don't forget to come back to complete the evaluation form for your certificate. All right, this is very important because it will be automatic e-certificate system. After you submit the feedback from your feeling from the training session, submit, click, then certificate will send to your email directly. All right, whatever, if you skip it, fine, but come back to view the record and click on the certificate form for the feedback. Then you will get the certificate of participation of this training session. Okay, so before I start the session, the next slide, please. Okay, so I don't need to repeat about the technical part because you have been trained already from the first session. Let me check the name of the participants. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. So we have many participants from Brunei, and we also have from Cambodia, from the Philippines, from Malaysia. Okay, that's great. And from some joining by using mobile phone. All right, from Thailand as well. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. Okay. So you know that before I start the session, I would like to know where are you? SR Sangkai Siamas Primary School. Miss Suhaila, are you here? Can you please unmute yourself and say
Yes, I'm
hello?
here. I'm just here, Piapa.
Hi, Miss Suhaila. Thank you so much. And how many of you joining today?
I think 5.
All right, that's great. Thank you. And next, may I invite Kili Sowan Wong Primary School from Cambodia. Mr. Dai Chan Min, can you please click unmute and say hello? Or anyone from Cambodia can click unmute and hello.
Hello,
Hi, sir. How are you?
and you?
Thank you, sir, very much. Right. Okay. Thank you so much for unmute yourself. Now, may I go to the SK Marine Convent from the Malaysia? Anyone, please say hello to the participants.
Hello, good day everyone.
And your name is?
Tengku Nur Latifah from SK
Hi.
Marine Convent.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Miss. Thank you so much. And next, may I invite SK Bantayan Tualan? Anyone from Sabah? SK Bantayan Tualan, would you mind to unmute yourself? Okay, they may not join yet. May I skip to the Stonino Elementary School from the Philippines? Anyone can unmute and say hello to the participants.
Hello. Good
Hello,
afternoon
Jen.
to everyone.
You are the
Nice
school
to see you once
principal.
again. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. And how many of you joining us today?
We are 5, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And next, may I invite บ้านห้วยหยกโซปาบ้านห้วยหยวกป่าโซโรงเรียนบ้านห้วยหยกป่าโซค่ะ Would you mind to unmute yourself and say hello to the participants?
Hello everyone
สวัสดีค่ะเปิดกล้องหน่อยไหมเปิด
อ่าก
ล้องหน่อย
ตอนนี้ยังไม่สะดวกค่ะเพราะกำลังจะปล่อยนักเรียนนะคะ
Oh, okay. This is the end of the daytime of the school, so they request not to open the camera yet. And next, Hiang Thai Thamlong Border Patrol Police School ค่ะ Anyone can click on the unmute and say hello. I see
Okay,
one
I
person.
guess there is only me here.
ใช่ค่ะ
Captain Thomas.
Okay ค่ะ thank you
But-
ค่ะ Sir Thomas. Nice that you
ครับ
are
thank
here
you ครับ ma'am
representing the school. Thank you so much ค่ะ
ครับ thank you ครับ ma'am ครับ
Okay. May I move to the next part? So for the session today, I will try to keep it very short within, like we will try to finish by 4:15, which is the Thailand time. And then we will have like invited speaker by Dr. Laade. And then we have 2 presentation from the model school, which is Kolat Bibingkan Jalinangkashi from Malaysia and SJKC Chung Hawa Tempurali, Malaysia. And I hope that you can learn a lot from them. And at the end of the session again, I may have like some short question to ask your reflection and then the training feedback form. Okay, next please. Now, may I request everyone again to open the camera for the group photo. So for this time, I will request only one shot for the group photo. So we need to do the best. We need to do the best photo shot. Only one shot. All right. Okay, so open the camera, please. All right, and start with the freestyle. Whatever you want to do, small heart. All right, only one shot. On my count, please. Keep smiling. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. And may I request the main PowerPoint to be on the screen? Now, let's go to the warm-up activities. I would like to invite one person from each school, only one person, to give a short brief about your school in 1 minute. I put in here 2 minutes. Now I change my mind. I just need only 1 minute for each school. So I want you to inform us the key challenge that your school are facing in student health and existing school feeding program. You can introduce by starting with your school name, your name in short, and then go direct to the key challenge at your school. Okay, so may I start with Brunei Darussalam. Miss Suhaila, this is gonna be challenging for you to introduce your school within 1 minute. Miss Suhaila.
Okay. All right. Okay. Miss. Sekarang Sungai Siamas, we're from Brunei. We are on Water Village School. So our challenges is, of course, most of the parents, they are, the economy is based on the fishermen. So our challenge is for the students to have a healthy lunch meal being provided for them, from home.
Okay, so that's it. I think that you finished before time. Thank you so much, Madam Suhaila. Okay, and next, may I invite Cambodia? Are you okay to speak and give a short brief about your school? Mr. Dai Chan Main, are you okay to say hello, to speak about the short brief about your school? Yes, sir. Kiri Sowan Wong. Okay, yes, please.
Okay, hello.
Yes, sir.
For the challenges, absent of a school feeding program. The Cambodia, there are 28 teachers
Yes, sir.
and 6,026.
126.
Yes.
626 students
All right. Okay,
and
600. Okay.
Kampong Chang province.
All right. Okay. And what is the key challenge of your school? Key problem?
One of our key problems would be absence of any like school feeding program. The school doesn't facilitate providing food for the students.
Right.
Which is for nutrition for students depending on their home situation.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Now, may we move to the next school from Malaysia. Saint Maria Convent, would you mind to start first?
Hello.
Anyone from Hello? Yes, ma'am. Yes, Risa.
I'm from SK Marian Convent, and my name is Tunku Nolatifa, but then everyone can call me Kula.
Yes.
In our school, the key challenges that we are facing nowadays, actually, one of them is a lack of consistent nutrition awareness among the students and also the parents. And then the pupils prefer the sugary drinks and processed snacks instead of taking the healthy food, actually.
Yeah. I think that this is happened to our school.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kula. And now, may I invite SK Bantayan Tuaran? Are they here? Would you mind to unmute yourself? SK Bantayan Tuaran? Okay, they are not here yet. So I will skip to the Stonino Elementary School. Please, Madam Jen.
Hello, mabuhay.
Mabuhay.
I am Maria Jennifer Bive, the school head of Santo Niño Elementary School. With me today are our 3 teachers and a parent. Santo Niño Elementary School has 2,688 learners with 80 teachers. The school caters 3 programs. We have the regular, we also have the special needs education program, and madrasa. That's why we have also Muslim learners. As of today, we are facing problems such as absenteeism of pupils, and also we are working on collaboration with parents because parental engagement is very much needed. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you, Madam Jennifer. Now, may I go to the Ban Hue Yok Pak So? Are you okay to open the microphone, ka? But if you are not convenient to speak in English, you can speak in Thai.
First of all, I want to present our school. We are the school that we are far from the cities, and the problem that we want to improve our student health is improve the school lunch program to provide complete and very nutritious.
Right. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Ka. Thank you so much. Now, the last person, Hiang Thai Thamrong School, Mr. Thomas.
Is there any Hiang Thai school officer right here? Okay, it's just me.
Ka.
Okay. For Hiang Thai Damlong School, it's just like elementary school, like many school here, but our school are located on the mountain cow of Thailand from the north part. In Thailand, we say Doi, and we don't have so many teachers, but we have so many minority people there. So right now we are really lack on many resources. Right now, it's just only me that live in Bangkok, but Hiang Thai school live in the mountain cloud, and they cannot find some signal to participate, or they already participate, but they cannot speak to us right now because, well, as I have said, there is no signal there on the mountain cloud. You can imagine too. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much. How about the nutrition problem at the school? Nutrition problem. What are they facing about?
As I have said right now, we are lack so many resource, and
The
like
resources.
that, our minority don't have any knowledge of nutrition
Lack of
knowledge.
knowledge. Yes,
That's the
right.
problem.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ka. So let me move to the next part quickly. So I think that it's time for Dr. Le Ade to present her knowledge to us. So I would like to invite Dr. Le Ade Vilanyani, affiliate scientist from the Simeo Redford, one of our sister center based in Indonesia that specializes in food and nutrition. And she also the lecturer of the Department of Nutrition, Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Indonesia. Dr. Le Ade, are you okay? So may I turn the floor back to you?
Yep. Thank you, Piapa. So I would like to excuse myself for not turning on the camera because I received notification that my internet connection is in the low bandwidth. So hopefully you don't mind. So good afternoon, our friends. I learned that there are schools from 5 countries: Brunei Darussalam, Malaysia, the Philippines, Cambodia, and also Thailand. So yeah, we'll be happy to have a representative from Indonesia actually, but I learned that until today there are not yet any confirmation from school from Indonesia, but hopefully they can join later. What I would like to share with you is some nutrition informations that I think very relevant for you to know. And I already select some of them that are really relevant to your daily activity as a teachers, where I believe you really want to take part in building a healthy habit among the students. So with that, I would like to share the screen. Anyone would like to ask questions, you can directly put your questions in the chat box, or you can also ask me later during the question and answer session. So like Piapa mentions, the title of my sharing today is the balanced nutrition. Yeah, when we say balance, what does it mean? And because we will be dealing with school children, so this is always about their health and also their academic performance. I am one of the staff in Simeo Redford based in Jakarta, Indonesia. I don't know whether you have been to Jakarta before. I would love to have your visit again. And I'm also a lecturer in the Department of Nutrition, Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Indonesia based in Jakarta. Okay. My presentation will cover 4 major subtopics. The first one is the nutrition problem among school-age children in Southeast Asia. And we share some similarities in terms of nutrition problem, dietary habits, like you have mentioned earlier that you are worried about the preference of students with sugary drinks or sweet foods. I think that's also occur in many Southeast Asian countries. And then the second topic will be how much nutrition that we need. How much nutrition needed by the school children. And number 3 is about the guideline. Yeah. So is there any guideline available that you can refer when you want to promote a healthier eating habit among your students? Because we eat food, yeah, we don't eat nutrient, we eat food. So what are the type of food that is considered healthy, and what are type of food that is recommended to be consumed less? And the last one, the topic number 4 is let's share the challenges usually reported by teachers and school principals from many schools, and whether or not there are strategies to cope that challenges. Maybe we cannot totally address the problems because usually the problems is quite complex, but at least we can minimize the impact of the challenge. So we still have options, yeah. Okay. Let's start with the first issue. Why we need to concern about nutrition in school-age children. In this slide, you will see the first point is because during our life, yeah, starting from infancy, a baby, until elderly, a grandma or grandpa, there are some major life cycle. Yeah, we say life cycle, like for example, infancy, toddler, and then school children, adolescents, young adult, and then adult, and then pra-elderly, and then elderly. So there are some life cycle. For some, for each of the life cycle, they have challenges, yes, like elderly into immunity, infancy, immunity, for example, adolescent for the puberty. Yeah, so there is always a challenge for every life cycle. And they also believe that when you build habits during early age, the habit will last until adulthood. So it is more difficult to change habit when you are already enter adulthood. So it is better to introduce the habit when you are still young. Yeah, like for example, habit of not littering, yeah, in the public places, habit of wake up early, brushing teeth. So people believe that that kind of habit is more effective if you introduce that during early age. In this case, is school age children. Why we use school? Because it is a easy to reach institution, yeah. Because nowadays, school age children, the enrollment rate, yeah, school participations, especially the elementary school level, is very high. So if you want to reach school age children, school is the best option that you can have. However, for point number 5, we have to admit, yeah, that the school age children have a quite high percentage of malnutrition. When I say mal means not mal can be under, can be over. Yeah, it is grouped into a big term is mal. So like for example, nowadays overnutrition keep rising, the prevalence, overweight or even obesity. So that's not a good sign because obesity will lead to high risk of non-communicable disease such as diabetes, cardiovascular, hypertension. Yeah, so we have to do something, yeah, to these school age children. Okay, let's talk about the first issue. What are nutritional problems commonly faced by school age children in Southeast Asia? So I take this data from a quite recent publication it shows that, the blue one is the thinness, the weight compared to the height, while the yellow, orange one is the overweight and obesity. If you look into this table figure, then it seems that across all Southeast Asian countries, the prevalence of overweight obesity is higher than the issue of the thinness. Yeah, I'm not saying that thinness is not important to be addressed, but the problem shifted into overnutrition compared to undernutrition. This is another example, another data. Yeah, this data coming from more than 300 studies, so it's a very strong evidences. So the researcher do some statistical modeling. They want to estimate the trend of the nutritional status problem from 2000 to 2030. If you look into the table, the figure in the left side, you see that four nutritional problems declining across years, which is good. But we also have to see that there are another problems getting higher across years, yeah, and consistent among all countries, they are overweight and obesity. And the figure in the right, our right, declining is vitamin A deficiency and iron deficiency, but we have an emerging problem about vitamin D deficiency. Maybe it has something to do with nowadays more children are prefer to be inside the house because they are doing their gadget compared to playing outside the house. Yeah, vitamin D, one of the main sources of vitamin D is the sun. Yeah, the sunlight. Yeah, we have preformed vitamin D under our skin, and in order to be active into vitamin D and can be used by our body, it have to be activated by the sun light. Yeah, but the issue is nowadays more children prefer to be inside the building compared to playing outside the building like in the old age. The studies, many researchers have confirmed that nutritional status, either under or over, is caused by dietary intake, inadequate, sometimes over, excess, sometimes inadequate, or frequency of illness. If you get ill frequently, so the nutrient, the energy is used to recover from the illness, then to grow. Yeah, so because of that, then you have undernutrition issues. And also overweight obesity has something to do with the declining intensity of physical activity among our children, more into sedentary, sitting-based activity along the day. So the energy intake is much more than the energy expenditure, and because of that, the energy storage in our body getting higher and higher, and it is then transferred into fat, store as a fat, and it makes obesity problem. When we talk about school children, I think I wonder whether it is common in your school that some children or even majority of the children go to school without adequate breakfast. So with sometimes it is due to the time management, yeah. So wake up a bit late, so they are in rush. They don't want to be late, so they skip the breakfast. Yeah, they think so. Oh, I will have that during the class break, or maybe it has something to do with the economy. For example, the parents have to go very early, and then so they don't have time to prepare food for the breakfast. So instead they give a pocket money, for example, for the children. So they go to school without breakfast. And many studies, unfortunately, found that skipping breakfast is consistently associated with the higher risk of overweight obesity. Maybe it seems quite contradictory because why skipping breakfast lead to obesity? And that because when students go school hungry, they really pay off during the class break. So they tend to buy a lot of snacks because they are hungry. And usually the snacks are those with high sugar because their body demand for sugar. The blood glucose is low, they cannot concentrate, or they demand for sugar as an energy sources. And because of that, the risk of obesity get higher. And breakfast and academic performance, again, because when we, understand the class, the subjects, we need to concentrate. Our brain need energy to digest the information, to remember, to answer questions, something. So then, of course, skipping breakfast have a negative influence to academic performance. And how about the requirements? So how much vitamins do we need? How much fat? Do we need fat? Yeah. So people think fat is a bad. So people start questioning, do we need fat? We do. Yeah, we do need fat. So, but how much fat do we need? So let's go to a bit nutrition knowledge here. Yeah, nutrients, we divide nutrient into two big group, macro and micro. For macro, carbohydrate, protein, and fat. For micro is vitamin and minerals like calcium, zinc, iron. Yeah, macro because we need a more higher amount, while micro we need a very small amount, but the roles is not micro. Yeah, the roles is very big roles, but we need in a very small amount. So that's why we call micro. So each of the nutrients have a specific roles, but they work together. Yeah, because for example, to digest protein, we need enzyme. Enzyme is made from protein. So they complement each other for our body to function well. From the scientific point of view, when we talk about how much nutrient do we need, every country has what we call as recommended nutrient intakes. So abbreviation is RNI, but in some country they use another term RDA, but actually they refer to similar things. Yeah. So every country has its RNI. So for example, Malaysia, they have how much energy is needed for 11 until 13 years old male, 11 until 13 years old female. Yeah, so it can be different. It can be similar with Indonesian, with Brunei. So everyone have their considerations, yeah, but usually the differences is not big. Yeah, it's not exactly the same kilocalorie, but usually it's somehow not really different. Yeah, like I mentioned before, we don't consume nutrient. Yeah, we don't consume vitamin A, we don't consume protein, but we consume food. We consume chicken liver, we consume egg, we consume milk. So we don't consume fat, protein, yeah, unless it is supplement. Yeah, for supplement, yes, there are some supplement, vitamin C supplement, vitamin D supplement, but on daily basis we consume food, and because of that, all the numbers, the complicated numbers in the RNI is converted into food, because if you want to promote healthy eating, you cannot say to the people, to the community, you should consume 2,000 kilocalorie per day. So they will have less idea what foods that contribute to 2,000 kilocalorie per day. So because of that, what we promote, the learning materials, the promotion materials is in the form of food, not in the form of nutrients. And we call it food any of these because we eat food. Some countries in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia, they have a specific food guide. If you look into the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the United Nations body that dealing with food and agriculture, in their website, you can find the food guide for Cambodian, Indonesian, Malaysian, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. Yeah. I wonder whether we also have maybe our colleague from Brunei. You can also share whether there is also a food guide for Brunei Darussalam. If I would like to summarize the nutrition messages in Southeast Asia, we have many similarities. Like for example, eating variety of foods is always the number one nutrition messages. It is consistently promoted in all the countries. Cambodia, the 6 countries who have published their food guide in the FAO website. Variety of foods, plenty vegetables and fruits, fish, lean meat, eggs, legumes as source of protein is also consistently promoted in the 6 countries. In all countries, we also promote a variety of carbohydrates. So we would like to say that carbohydrate source is not only rice. We can get our carbohydrate from potato, from cassava, from corn. Yeah, so we also want to have variety sources of carbohydrate. Save water, sufficient water, safe foods, sweet and salty foods. It's also maybe because there are many concern about the sweet and salty, so we can find this is cross country. But there are some nutrition messages that is very specific to certain country. For example, in the Philippines, you have message about using iodized salt, while manage stress is also only in the Philippines, that you have a very explicit message to manage stress, and having breakfast is only for Indonesian. Yeah, maybe it depends on the how big the issue is in the country. Because we see that there is variety of food is highlighted a lot. Why? Because there is no single food that can provide all nutrients that we need, except breast milk for under than 6 months of age children. But after 6 months of age, we need variety of foods to fulfill all the nutrients needed. But in general, for school children, similar to the main messages, yeah, eat a lot of fruit, vegetables, and consume some protein source like fish, egg, and also you have to drink water, plain water, not the flavor one, which is usually sweet. To make the messages easy to understand by the community, the messages is in the form of visual, yeah, easy to understand. This is for the Philippines and this is for the Malaysian. You can see that there are many similarities across these 2 countries, and similar for the Cambodian. For the Cambodian, you have you differentiate food guide for public, and also there is a specific food guide for school children. And we also have, of course, from Vietnam, from Indonesia, and from Thailand. If you see Thailand have a specific food guide, yeah, because it is inverted pyramid. For the other countries, this is a pyramid. So the tip of the pyramid is always at the top of the pyramid, but for Thailand, the pyramid is inverted because yeah, actually I would like to invite anyone who may come across why in Thailand the flag, I mean the pyramid is inverted, but I don't know whether I have time. So because of that, so let me explain. Because in some using this kind of pyramid, sometimes lay people think the highest, the top is the best. Yeah, usually because the highest is somehow people relate it with the best. While actually the highest is the food that you should consume the least because it is not healthy, sugar, sweet, and salt. So because of that, so Thailand used the inverted pyramid. This pyramid is the guideline for 1 day consumption, but we also have more detailed guidance for 1 meal, yeah, for breakfast only. This is for 1 day and this is for 1 meal, yeah. For the Philippines, it is called Pinggang Pinoy, and for the Indonesian, it is called Isi Piringku or My Plate, yeah. So this is the guidance for 1 meal instead of 1 1 day. And also, let's talk about the strategies to promote nutrition at school. I will go to this, yeah. Our ASEAN, because the Southeast Asian countries, we belong to ASEAN. So recently in 2024 or 23, if I'm not mistaken, the ASEAN published the minimum standard for a school nutrition package. So they really expect every school in Asian countries minimally address these 5 thematic area: nutritious foods, healthy school food environment, especially the school canteen. Dr. Iis will share with you about school canteen tomorrow. And also the nutrition services, including the assessment of the body mass index, the body weight, the body height, and also nutrition literacy, because we would like to have our children know, and then because of that they can select, they have more awareness when they want to buy snack, for example. And of course, given a high prevalence of obesity, we should also promote physical activity. And in this slide, I would like to share that this is based on our experiences with our school partners, the tips for implementing nutrition education at school. We don't have to have a fancy program. We should start with the most feasible, even it is considered very simple activity, it is okay, as long as it is done consistent and feasible, and use the existing resources. And regular exposure. We cannot have extravaganza program, but it is only once a year. It is better to have regular exposure, although it is a very simple one. And it is better to have experiential learning type of activity. So you don't only share the information, not only improve the knowledge, but also building the skill, how to do it. Yeah. If you promote breakfast, let's do it. Let's have breakfast at school. Bring your own meal. Let's have it together. Because if we only talk about the benefit of breakfast, but we don't have the session that promote the breakfast, not doing it, so usually it's only in their head. Yeah, it remain as a knowledge, but not as a practice. So we may not necessarily be able to cope all the challenges. However, we can do something, of course. The first thing is the school community agree to improve the program at school. We identify the feasible activity, and the important thing is start doing it. Start with the easiest one, and we expand gradually. Later on, after everyone enjoy the new practices, it will automatically build a new healthier habit among the school children. And the last slide is I would like to share some of the activities at school that is considered feasible, like bring your own meal for breakfast. You can have it in your school hall, or you can have it in the classroom. And of course, school garden, you can have if you have spacious land, or even if you have a very limited land, you can have like this, using a bucket, a big bucket, or you can have a regular physical activity. You can have food festival, and you can have a video competition across classes of healthy breakfast, and you can have a debate for senior high, and the topic is something to do with nutrition. So this is just give an idea what kind of activity can be done at school. I think that's all my presentation. Thank you very much. I give all the screens to Piapa.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ade. And since we have very limited time, and I would like, if you have any questions, please drop the question in the chat box, okay? Or if you have the question right now, please unmute yourself. I can allow only one question at the moment. Anyone, please, the question. Okay. So if there is no question, may I continue to the next speaker? So we have the model school who have been successful in the program implementation in the second phase. And the two schools are Sekolah Bimbingan Jalinan Kasih in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and another one is JK Chung Hawa Tempaluli. And so without further ado, may I invite Ms. Sasha, the teacher and program coordinator, who will be presenting on the Health Heroes program. So Sasha, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Miss Shaza. I'm from Sekolah Bimbingan Jalinan Kasih. Welcome to every one of you, especially the sister school. Everyone can hear me? Yeah. Okay, I also like to introduce SBJK Sister School, Sekolah Kebangsaan Marian Convent.
Just hold on, I'm trying to find the file for you.
All right, okay. I would like to thank Simeo for the phase 3 for school model expansion. As for right now, my school have already had one in-house training with SK Marian Convent before we submitted the form. So we had come to their school to have a short meeting on how to do the submission of the form and the concept of the programs that we had before. So this will be my slides, and our program last year was called as Health Heroes, Raising Awareness and Empowering Healthy Eating Habits. Next. Okay, Sekolah Bimbingan Jalinan Kasih is a government school established by our Malaysian Ministry of Education, and it's a special school where we provide opportunities for orphan children, extremely poor, homeless, and undocumented children. We also have preschool, primary, and secondary level in one school building. As for right now, we have 16 teachers, 90 parents, 161 students as for this year. Next. Okay. So our lunch program last year, we had free daily meals, but the challenges were non-eco-friendly packaging, as you can see in the photo. We also have mixing of food in plates and poor fruits and vegetable intake. Next. So our rationale is that we want to adopt healthy eating practice through simple habits that we can instill at school. And then we want to increase nutritional awareness of student, parents, and community, and also increase the engagement of all of us in sustainable practices. Next. So we had 5 initiatives for our program. First is Hydrate for Health campaign, healthy eating module, regular nutritional workshop, reusable label food containers, and also the school policy. Next. So these are the activities that we had conducted. So before we started with our program, we had a pre-assessment test first. This is important for you to do data collection. So if you want to do this project at your school, you first need to have a prior set of data where you would know how much the students are doing, knowing the level of their knowledge and how much they have had before in terms of eating, in terms of nutritional balance, and it could be not just the students but also the parents, the canteen, the teachers. So we had this pre-assessment test so that we can compare before and after our program. Will it be successful or not? Okay, next. After that test, we had the school canteen to change from non-biodegradable material for plastic plates into food tray. So with this activity, we have decreased the food wastage and also non-eco-friendly packaging. Okay, next. The next activity is that we had our first nutritional workshop where we launched the whole Healthy Rough program. We had the KKM, we had the Ministry of Health come to support us with exhibition and also the talk. And after the launch, we also had a school pay app where it is a pre-launch app platform to streamline transaction to be taken, carried out at our school so that we know will it be successful or not to have an app at school. Okay, next. The next activity is Hydrate for Health campaign. We started at 7th of April 2025. Everyone have their own bottle. We bought them bottles so there are no excuses of not having any water bottles. And we also provide water station in the classroom as an intervention for lost or misplaced bottles. So they know that their bottle should be there in the class. Okay, next. We also have reusable food containers. As before, we use non-eco-friendly packaging and then we change it into food containers that we can bring back home. And this is sponsored by the school food hall vendor as well, the canteen. And then that is our community engagement in a way. Next. We had our second nutritional workshop. It was on 25th of April and it consists of all of our students from preschool, primary and secondary school. So we had different competition for different level. We had brochure competition and coloring competition for the preschool and the primary school. We had them to do brochure and also how to separate the food pyramid and also food plate. And for the secondary level, we had creative chef challenge that provided and also assisted by teachers. And for the parents, we had demonstration for cooking, and we also had our sister school of SBJK, another one in Sabah, to came to support on our second workshop. They were the judges on that day. Okay, next. Okay, these are the photos. As you can see from the pictures, those are the presentation of healthy food that the teachers and the students made together. So in a way, they learn how to do their own healthy food in sustainable practice. Okay, next. Pictures as well. Yeah, these are the other groups. So this menu are supposed to be easy, whether you can cook or you won't need to cook. But as long as the students know, they earn knowledge and also skill from it. Next. Okay, all this food were presented and our judges were from our sister school, SK Sembulan. All the judges tasted their food and then we awarded the best one, taking into consideration of the presentation as well. Okay, next. Okay, for the younger learners, we had them to create their own healthy meal on the plate and also recognizing food pyramid and then put it in a brochure. Okay, next. These are the winners. There were only few of the winners, but everyone were heroes on that day. Okay, next. Okay, for the parents, we had Chef Mai to do a healthy cooking demonstration, and it was turmeric grilled chicken with corn rice and also creamy herb tahu bites. So it's a very cheap menu, but it's sustainable and also very healthy. Next. the next activity is that we had our Mission Slim Possible for the teachers and also for the parents. So you were supposed to register and we see who will win the Biggest Loser Challenge. Okay, next. And then these are the pre-assessment tests that we do. I had it separated based on our initiative. For example, their hydration habits, the awareness of balanced diet, and how much of junk food that they eat. So these are the data collection. Okay, next. Okay, next, these are all the challenges and awareness of nutrition. These were carried out. I use it on a Google form. So every teacher have to monitor how the student input their data in the Google form. Okay, next. Next, please. Okay, so from that survey form, from that pre-assessment test, we also had after post-assessment test, and these are what have been tabulated in the survey form. So, for example, before 2024, knowledge about healthy eating food, how much of them they know, 44. And then after that, we had another one with the same set of question, and it has increased into 78. So, throughout the program, after we have done it, we can see around 34% increase in awareness of healthy food. Okay, next. This one as well about feeling full after having meal at the school. So we can see and compare the set of data. And I think it is a good idea. And I strongly suggest that everyone do a pre-test and a post-test so that when the program is successful, then you can see based on the data collection that you have made when you present it. And it will be a good sharing at your school. Okay, next, please.
So I just go quickly for the result here.
Okay.
Alright, okay.
Okay, these are the best practices of my school. First, that we use labeled trays and reusable food containers because we want to minimize waste production. And also the Hydrate for Health campaign where we encourage students to build simply daily habits through drinking water. Okay, next. The lesson learned from our program is that it is important to be flexible in planning because last year we had a late academic year and then we also had Ramadan that disturbed the timeline, the initial timeline that we had to do a revised timeline. And then based on my students at my school, it is the best to do hands-on activities like the chef challenge. And also the last one is that awareness does not always translate to action, meaning our students have successfully increased in awareness in knowing about healthy food and their knowledge about hydration, but that does not mean that it will translate to action straight away. It will take some time to develop the small habits throughout the year. Okay, next. Okay, the positive impact is that we improve student health awareness fully, and then we want sustainable habits and waste reduction to go long term, and we had strengthened our community engagement with few participation from others. Okay, next. So our community engagement, we had parental involvement in our students activity. We had the school food hall vendor to support our initiative, and also we had government and external agency support. Next. Okay, so our plan for sustainability is that we want to integrate it into our school policy. So we had it in our student vows. So when they took their vows, they need to say, we drink water every day. So that is our long-term sustainability project. We want to instill it as a moral values. And then we plan to have the annual nutritional workshop. And whenever people come to our school, we have frequent school visits. So this initiative will be promoted to visitors and also external stakeholders. So we always promote a health hero program everywhere we go. Okay, next. These are the two, that is my student and also another teacher on this program lah. And their comment. Okay, next is the end. So thank you. You can scan the QR code if you want the video, the health eating module that we use at our school and also our slides. Okay,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, Sasha. All right. May I know if anyone would like to ask the question from her? Okay, we just share her presentation slide in the chat box. In the Zoom chat box, you can download directly. Okay, so is there any question from our audience? Okay, if you have any question, just raise your hand. Right, okay, so there is, okay, just only share the file in the chat box. Right, okay, may I invite Miss Akila, coordinating teacher from the SJK Chung Hawa Tempurali in Sabah, Malaysia, to present the school project on healthy bites. Akila, are you ready? Please, the
Yes,
floor is
Miss
with you.
Piapa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Piapa.
And would you mind to try to keep it in 8 minutes?
Okay, I'll try.
Thank you. Yep.
So, good evening and thanks again to Simeo for this opportunity. My name is Akila, one of the coordinating teacher for Simeo SEPS project of SJKC Chunghua Tamparuli. I would like to share about our school project briefly, briefly. So, our school project is called Healthy Bites, Small Changes for Big Health Benefits. Before I go further, I would like to share a little bit introduction of our school. Our school is located at suburban areas at Taparuli, Sabah, East Malaysia. We currently have 24 teachers and 341 students at the primary school level. Next slide, please. So in Malaysia, we have a program introduced by the Ministry of Education, which called a nutritious meal in school, or we call it in Malay, hidangan berkhasiat di sekolah, or the short terms is HITS. This program intends to promote healthy eating habits in school, but it is not compulsory for schools to implement it strictly. It mainly focuses on encouraging healthy eating habits and ensuring that food salt in school canteen is not junk food. So in 2023, our school started implementing this program more seriously by introducing a pre-order meal system, allowing students to order HITS meals in advance without queuing during lunchtime. However, the student participation remained low, so many students prefer junk food and processed food instead of balanced meals, which motivated us to start the Healthy Bites project. Secondly, many families had limited awareness about nutritious eating habits. As a result, unhealthy food choices become common among students. Therefore, we decided to start this initiative, this project, to promote better eating habits and create healthier school food environment. So the focus of this project is to highlight the importance of balanced nutrition for school children and how it supports both their health and academic performance. So through this activity or this project, we encourage students to adopt healthy eating habits and make better food choices in school. So next slide, please. These are our expected outcomes throughout this project. We aim to achieve several important outcomes. These include higher student participation in healthy programs, improve eating habits among students, and most importantly, we hope to see better health outcomes, including improved BMI levels, better hygiene practices, and enhance their learning performance in school. Next slide, please. So these are the activities we have conducted for this project. With the HITS program and the quarter half campaign as our main initiatives, we strengthen the implementation of the HITS program by encouraging students to order nutritious meals prepared by the school canteen. At the same time, we promoted the quarter half concept to teach students about how to build a balanced meal that includes quarter carbohydrate like rice or bread, quarter protein like chicken or egg, and half fiber, which include vegetables and fruits intake. So we also collaborated with the canteen operator to provide these meals at affordable price, around 4 ringgit Malaysia, and the menu was planned together with the nutrition officers from the district health office to ensure it met proper nutritional standards. So we have also have other activities like nutrition education program with the district health officer, which where we include both students and parents. So we also have educational displays around the school, monthly team lunch days, and provided hygiene education for the younger students to promote better health and food safety practices. Next, please. Apart from this project, we also have a garden project at our school. So actually, we already have a mini garden at our school. So this garden was intended to help students learn more about planting and growing vegetable. So students can learn more about food sources, sustainability and responsibility, while also developing appreciation for the healthy food. Next slide, please. And these are the project outcomes. We have seen an encouraging result throughout this program. Among 56 students with the abnormal BMI levels before this project, 40 of them improved to healthier BMI category, while 16 worsened and 3 remained the same. But overall data from 146 students who participated in this in the HITS program between May and September 2025, they show improvement in the BMI distribution, showing that small intervention can help and make meaningful difference to student health. Next slide, please. So these are some of our school achievement last year. We got 5-star evaluation from Ministry of Education for the school supplementary meal program, and 100% evaluation from the Ministry of Health for school canteen management. Next slide, please. Our students have also demonstrated excellent achievement across the areas of curriculum, co-curriculum, and student development, including both academic and sports competition. Next slide, please. These are lessons learned from this project. We learned several important lessons. One of them are involving students in food selection and activities makes them more responsible for their own health. Next slide, please. So, in conclusion, promoting balanced nutrition among school children is essential for their physical health, well-being, and academic success. Schools can play an important role in shaping healthy habits that benefit students both in and outside the classroom. So I hope that our project will give some ideas for the sister schools to conduct their project at school. Next slide, please. If you wish to know more about our school, you can scan the QR code, or you can always go to our social media. Our Facebook, just type our school name as JKC Chunghwa Tamparuli. I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Akila. You did very well and on time. So may I ask, anyone would like to ask the question to the speakers? All right, maybe you can type in the chat box. And if you have any question, you can unmute yourself as well. I saw the heart from the Philippines. Would you like to reflect something, Miss Jennifer? We still have time. Another 2 minutes. I can finish the session within 2 minutes. Anyone would like to share or want to reflect or want to give some observation or ask the question? You can unmute yourself. All right, okay. So anyway, because you have to do the evaluation form or feedback form for the session, and I put a lot of questions in the feedback form. So it's time for you to share your thought, or even like if you have the question to clarify with our speaker, you can put the question in the evaluation form. So may I announce that for the sorry, may I go back to the previous slide about the next session? Okay, so for the next session, agenda will be on the understanding the school food environment and role of the school canteen. This is about, it is another interesting session, not just only nutrition knowledge and how you gonna serve the food for the student is important. Menu planning also important, but how to create the environment also important. To develop the student health and also school well-being. So for the next session, we have Dr. Nastiti, Deputy Director for Program and Expert of the Simeo Rec Fund, to give a lecture or share the experience about her program on this. And we also invite the model school, two schools. One is from Brunei Darussalam, Miss Suhaila Binti Saleh, and also SDN2 Landasan Ulim Balat in Indonesia, to share how they improve their school food environment and improve the student health at the same time. So may I move to the next slide? Okay, this is the time for the post-training feedback form. I would like to request everyone to use the mobile phone to scan the QR code, or you can post the link in the chat box. Okay, our team already posted the link in the chat box. So please click on the link for the certificate. And may I remind you that please ensure the spelling of your name, school name, and email address, because it cannot be in the certificate. And please use Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail as the priority email for receiving the certificate, because we found that some government email, because of the high security, the certificate cannot send, the e-certificate to you. So that there are some problem. If you don't receive the certificate right away, after you click on the link, submit, meaning that first, your email get protected. And second thing, please check in your spam box. The certificate may go to the spam box. All right. So may I end the session today, and thank you very much for your participation. Dr. Ade, thank you very much for your presentation and that knowledge that you're sharing to our participants, including Ms. Sasha from the from the Sekolah Bimbingan Jalinangkashi, and also Ms. Akila from SJKC Chunghawa Tempurali, Sabah, Malaysia. Thank you very much all, and see you again in the next session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Open microphone.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye everyone.
Bye.
Open camera, please. Okay, bye-bye everyone. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you, Akila. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Thank you, Ka. No.